Hey guys, my name is Heather Lindsey.
And my name is Cornelius Lindsey.
And I'm so excited that you landed on Life with the Lindseys.
This is so exciting. This gives us an opportunity to share our life with yours.
Yes, we're going to be talking about everything from entrepreneurship to ministry to your purpose to why you are here, family, parenting, relationships, marriage, sex, you name it. We are talking about it.
So thank you so much for joining us today with Life with the Lindseys. Enjoy it.
Hey, everybody. How you guys doing today?
What's up, man? It's Cornelius and Heather.
Yes.
Heather.
Really?
Heather Lindsey.
Really?
Heather. Oh, my God. It's Heather Lindsey.
Oh, my gosh. Are we doing this right now?
Oh, my gosh. It's Heather Lindsey. Is that Heather Lindsey?
Okay.
It's Heather Lindsey.
So for the month of February, we're going to be talking about love.
Yes.
Just because I feel like February is like the love month.
Blah,
Right?
blah, 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 blah.
Anyway, so
Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad. Hey, that may be. Let's talk about, you know that song?
I do. I am aware of that song.
Come on, somebody.
I am
It's
aware.
like one of them you know of.
First of all, it came out like 30 years before you were even born.
What they got to do with the price of tea in China?
I'm just saying. So this is a topic that I feel like people shy away from talking about in the church, right? Do you feel like that?
I mean, because it's sex. And then like people don't want to be hearing all about that sex and stuff in church. I mean, sex. People have to understand. I heard people they complain about it all the time. Like, I wish you would talk more about sex in church. But you have to understand something. Like, the Bible itself is not about sex. The Bible is about redemption. It's about how we have been redeemed from sin. And I get it. In the church is that place where we have an opportunity to learn how our redeemed selves are supposed to live in this present age, and being with that, our redemptive selves having sex. The thing is that a lot of people out there having sex, and we ain't talking about that sex though.
We ain't talking about it, y'all. But the thing is, I feel like there's more single people out here having sex than married people having sex.
Well, I mean, I don't know what to say about all that.
Right. But what I am saying, what I am saying is I feel like there's a lot of talk. Like when you're single, they're like, it's bad. No sex, no sex, no sex, which is true because 1 Corinthians 6:18 tells us to flee fornication. Every sin that a man practices is without the body, but though that he that commits fornication sins against your own body. And so as first and foremost, as singles, we should be fleeing fornication, right? And not only that, we should be fleeing tempting situations and avoiding the appearance of sin. Sex outside of marriage, I just feel like it's just so glorified, right? And then when you get married, you're like, wait, sex is a terrible foundation for my marriage.
I mean, because you've already practiced. Like you've had, I mean, you gotta think about it. I mean, you out there, you done hit everything with legs.
Dang.
And you done practiced. And then now you get married, and then you like, hold on, this ain't like what it was, that I had before I got married. So I mean, it's dangerous. It's dangerous to do it outside of marriage, because I mean, you out there, you hitting it, and then you get married, and then marriage becomes greater than just us having sex. Like, now we have to have intellectual conversations.
Yeah.
Like, now you got to stimulate more than just my body. Now you got to talk about, like, when you were single, it was fun because it was like, it's almost like it's a thrill. It's like sex is almost, oh man, can I say this? It's almost like sex is funner when you know that it's bad.
Yeah.
Can I say that?
Yeah.
I can say that. I already said it. But sex, like, is fun. Like, when you know it's bad, it's like, man, this is bad, but this is good.
Yeah.
Then it's like, when then it becomes good, it's like, I don't know if this is still fun. You know what I mean? It's supposed to be, but
So you get convicted by the Holy Spirit, and then it's fun for a minute, and then you get convicted, and you're like, stop.
who get convicted? I'm just playing. You're right. But I mean,
really?
No,
Oh, really?
not,
You weren't convicted when you had sex outside of marriage?
Hold up.
I just want to know. I just want to know if the Holy Spirit really dwells on the inside.
Don't see? I see. There is no bondage.
I'm just saying.
Every chain is broken.
Oh, look at you singing a gospel song on the podcast.
Come on. See, get you a man that
I've
can
been
do both.
praying.
Get you a man that can do both.
The Lord done heard my prayers.
Get you a man that can do both. But sex outside of marriage is a very dangerous thing. I mean, people are having it. People are having sex. People are having sex. People are living together and they're not married. And they're wondering why things are kind of messed up in their relationship. Like, we've shared with people that No, I didn't. We waited to kiss until we got married. We actually waited a year and 8 months from the time we met until the time we got married. It was a year and 8 months. And so I kissed my wife for the first time on our wedding day. And people hear that. And let me say this. If that's your first time hearing that, I don't want to give off this impression that I'm like this glorified saint, because I ain't. Because every relationship I had before that was
destructive.
Oh, why we got to use D words?
Destructive.
Why we got to use the D word?
It was unhealthy.
They were. Yeah, they was unhealthy.
Would you miss them? You taking up for them?
You on the roll today, right?
I am.
You
right?
on the roll today? No, that's not what I'm saying. Okay, they were destructive. They were horrible. They were bad.
Yeah.
So I had already, it's almost like when you know what doesn't work, it's almost like, why don't I give a shot to what I've never done? But I felt God impressed it upon my heart not to kiss my wife until we got married. And it was amazing because like our relationship was not clouded in, it wasn't clouded in like in a lot of emotionalism. It wasn't clouded in a lot of like, it wasn't clouded in the sex. Because usually in the past, when we got into an argument, or when I got into the argument, then I was just like have sex with her. And it was like, that was just it. And then that was all that kind of happened. Or when I wanted to like get away, then sex could be the weapon that I used. But then like when you get married, it's like, well, you can't do that. And so it took a lot of training.
We can still do that though.
What?
We can still have sex when you want to just get away and you don't want to think about it.
No, I'm saying when I want to get away, that I do. What you see? I'm up here trying to be serious on this podcast, and you over here trying to be Garden of Eden. See, I'm telling you something. Remember on HBO? You probably never. Your mom never let you watch HBO, did she?
No, she didn't.
Oh, never mind.
Okay.
It was like HBO After Dark. They had this Eden show on. I used to like try to sneak to watch it. It was really bad.
No, but then I think that's a great just reminder of seeds, sexual seeds being planted in your heart as a child.
What you should also now you're trying to go to my upbringing.
I'm just saying,
baby,
let me just tell y'all about mine. So since we're talking about, I've been messing with you this morning, but growing up, I would read romance novels, and that was my introduction to pornography.
Romance
novels. Oh yeah, because they got real nasty and vulgar. Like, and I'm reading these as a child because my dad would read and my brother would read like these old Western novels, right? And I'd always just try to skip to the sex part. I don't think I ever told you that. Did I? Oh, that's man. Funny.
You skipped. No, the funny part is you skipped to the sex part of a Western novel. I bet that mom was wow. So super lame.
Right, super lame. So I was introduced to like masturbation as like a child, okay. Right? And like a teenager, right? Yeah. So I would read it as a teen and stuff. And I believe that those seeds got planted into my heart. I didn't know it was wrong. I didn't know that was like masturbation sin was a sin. I didn't know all that stuff was wrong. I had no idea. I didn't know that like that those books were planting seeds in my heart. And so even when I lost my virginity, I didn't know it was wrong. I had no idea. And then when I got saved at 20, I went to this Bible study and they were talking about you're not supposed to have sex. And I'm like, why? Like, why not have sex? And they said, well, it's a sin. And I'm like, how is it a sin? They said fornication. And I called it fornification. And it's just, it was crazy to me that I had no idea. I had no clue. And some people might just not know that having sex outside of marriage is a sin. But
this is what I want people to know, because people usually ask us, they're like, is fornication a sin? Is masturbation a sin? Is all these things a sin? And I think that a lot of times what people do is they provide these blanket statements where the Bible does not explicitly state, like the Bible does not explicitly state, if we can be factual, the Bible does not explicitly state that masturbation is a sin. The Bible does not explicitly state that certain things are sins, but this is where I want you to look at it. Hebrews chapter 1 gives us this identity and this definition of faith. Faith is the substance of things held forth, the evidence of things not seen. Then if we read further down, it says, and it is by faith that we please God. So we can go further with that in saying, well, if faith is how we please God, then unbelief or not having faith is how we displease him. So a lot of times in our Christian world today, in our society today, we have a lot of people who are providing blanket statements and just saying this is a sin, that's a sin, that's a sin, that's a sin. But if you really look at it, you ask yourself the question, okay, can I do this? Can I do this with faith in God? Like if you look at the 10 Commandments, it says thou shalt not kill. Well, then killing would mean that I don't have faith that God can allow for me to love an enemy who's trying to hurt me. Or I don't have faith, or thou shalt not lie, meaning that God cannot cover. I don't have faith that God can cover me in the truth, even though it may be to my detriment. So yes, when you're trying to decide, man, is this going to be a sin? Is God going to hate me for this? I mean, God loves you, but if you're trying to decide, is this a sin? That's a sin. You ask yourself a question: can I do this with faith in God? And then if I can, it's like Hebrews chapter 11 gives it very clearly. It is by faith that we please Him. So if you're saying in your mind, and don't be perverted in how you think about it. I mean, just really being honest and allow the Word of God to lead you and direct you. And that's the Spirit of God to do it too. But if you can do this in faith, then that means it's not. But a lot of things that we call, they're saying that we can do in faith with God is not the way. So don't deceive yourselves into saying that it is by faith when it is not by faith. But, I wanted to say that because a lot of people provide very blanket statements, and I want you to really understand the causation of sin and also the judgment of it that comes along with it as well.
And that also reminds me of 1 Corinthians 10:31. It says, whatever you do, you should be doing it all for the glory of God, right? In everything. And in marriage. And that's why we always encourage people to save sex for marriage. Yeah. And also like pornography, you have to ask yourself, is this glorifying God? Is this glorifying God? And so yeah, we just get a lot of questions about that. And
pornography is like one of those things, man. I got introduced to pornography back when I was like 12 years old. And I mean, even before that, pornography was, 12 years old was probably like when I first watched my first pornographic video. And that was back when there was like,
where'd you get the video from?
It was like VHS. Don't be asking me all them questions, cuz.
Child, that was like 20 years ago.
Cuz, don't be asking all them questions. Like you trying to dig too deep. But it was like back then when they had like the VHS tapes. That it was like VHS. Like you have to understand, like our generation was the first generation that kind of went from like when I was younger, and it was before I was 12. That's when they had the Playboy magazines. I had a cousin who had them, and that's when they had the Playboy magazines. But it went from magazines to VHS, and then that's when DVDs came out. Then after DVDs came out, then remember we had the internet. And remember we had AOL and stuff like that. And you could like log on and you can go to playboy.com.
Wait, you went to it? You used to go to it?
Yes, I did. I used to go to Playboy. And then they used to have those other things like LimeWire and stuff like that, where you were able to rip videos and stuff offline, and you were able to like download it onto your computer. So a lot of 20, 30 and 40-year-old men right now had old computers they probably threw away because they had a ton of viruses and porn on it. So that's just the way it went. But anyway, I got introduced to it, and then my introduction to it, led to this real downward spiral. And pornography, for me, pornography was not so much about the sex as much as it was about the power. Because for me, like, I didn't like pornography was a safe place where when I went to watch pornography, I didn't have to go meet parents. I didn't have to have a long conversation. I didn't have to talk about my feelings. I didn't have to discuss my heart. It was like me and that. And I used to always tell myself, well, nobody's being hurt by this. Like I'm doing this. This is just me. And nobody's being hurt by this. And you know what? And then I got to the place where I was like, you know what? This is a worker. This is an employee. This is a sex worker. So I feel like I am helping their personal economy by supporting this. But I mean, that was my mindset. And when you don't understand anything, you convince yourself of a truth that is not really real. Yeah. And I was convincing myself that this was going to be okay and this is fine. And then it took me time to finally realize, okay, Cornelius, what you're doing is detrimental not only for you, is detrimental for your future marriage, is detrimental for how you're thinking. Because now in my brain, I'm creating new pathways. And these new pathways in my brain, they're making me addicted to sex. It's making me addicted to pornography.
Dang.
And now you find yourself it becomes hard to just let go. People right now listen to this and say, I'm addicted to it. That's because you have created this neurological pathway in your brain that communicates when you get stressed that you need pornography in order to fulfill the stress. But then when you get finished with the pornography, then you feel the sting of the shame and guilt and condemnation.
Dang, that's good. I read this study once that said that if you're addicted to pornography, it's not that you want more sex with your spouse or in your future spouse or whoever. You want different sex. Like that lust cannot be quenched. So I love that we're addressing it and talking about it. And I love that we're talking about the seeds that were being planted in our hearts along the ways and how they harvested in pornography, harvested in fornication and all those other things. So I think it's good that we take a look at our life and say, okay, what have I been planting along the years, whether I knew or not, and just say, all right, well, in the name of Jesus, I'm going to uproot every single negative seed that was been planted. Every lust, you must go in the name of Jesus. Pornography, all those different things must go, and recognize that there's a spiritual aspect of it. You know what I mean? And I want to go back to something we kind of glossed over it. So let's take a little break and we can go back and talk about shacking up. Okay, so I know we always talk about using HelloFresh, but we actually really use it and we actually really love it.
It's amazing.
It's so amazing, right? I'm always looking for recipes that are delicious. I'm looking to save time because I got 3 kids that go nuts after 4:30. I don't know what it is. And I need something that's flexible that fits our lifestyle.
And, HelloFresh is America's best value meal kit. It's absolutely amazing. It's the best value, delicious choices, all that kind of great stuff. Listen, right now we have the best offer for you. You need to go to HelloFresh.com/LWL10. Again, that is HelloFresh.com/LWL10 and use code LWL10 or 10 free meals, including free shipping. You can't get that anywhere else. HelloFresh.com/LWL10 and use code LWL10 for 10 free meals, including free shipping. This is HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit.
Okay, so we're talking about shacking up. And as a woman, I think I read in Genesis, it says that your desire will be for your husband. And I learned that even before I got married, my desire was for a husband or a man. And if my boyfriend at the time wanted to shack up, I would too. And I didn't even know that shacking up was wrong at that point. But I wanted to shack up because I wanted to be married and I wanted to be a family and I wanted all that stuff growing up. I never thought that, my idea was always to get married at 25. By the time I'm 25, have a couple kids and all this other stuff. And obviously that didn't happen. And so what I would do is I would get in relationships and shack up. Right. And it was frustrating for me because I felt like, well, I want to be in this relationship and they're not taking it to that next level. They're not proposing, stuff like that. So I would meet with women now. Thank God I got set free, broke off those relationships, got saved for real. And what I found is that at times, I feel like women, I'm just talking about women, that we give away all the goodies as far as all the wife goodies, all the wife responsibilities. I'm going to cook, I'm going to clean, we're going to live together, we're going to have sex, we're going to do all this stuff. But then the woman gets frustrated because there's no commitment of a ring. She gets frustrated because he's not talking about settling down. He's like, oh, we can get married in a few years. But why is he going to rush and marry you if you're giving away the whole cow for free?
Yeah.
If you're giving away all the goodies, you're giving away everything. There's nothing for him to look forward to.
Yeah.
What is your perspective on that?
Well, the Bible, when you look at scripture, I've heard a lot of messages preached on this, and the Bible doesn't specifically say that, that thing is a sin. But I love one thing that you said. I love one thing that you've always said when you preach this, babe. The scripture says, while things may be permissible, they're not advantageous. And while you may feel as though you're permitted to do it, that it is still dangerous that you are doing it. And one thing that you are doing is when you already get into the house together, then you are robbing yourselves of the opportunity to truly grow, to truly grow and develop. You're robbing yourself of the opportunity to really understand one another before you get into the house. Now that goes counter, rationale. That goes counter reasoning, because a reasonable mind, I'm very analytical. I ask a lot of questions. So an analytical mind would assume and say, well, that doesn't make sense. If I want to learn this person more, then I would need to move in with them. And then that gives me an opportunity to really learn about them. Well, yeah, in an analytical mind, that may make sense. But the problem is that you have robbed yourself of the opportunity of really growing outside of one another before you do come together. See, a commitment has to be made before the two come together. When you make the commitment that I will be in this, regardless of what I see when we do come together, that's a stronger commitment. Rather than getting into the house and thinking, we're in here together, and now I can make a commitment because now I feel like you're okay for me. Also, I feel like a lot of people today it's almost like a lot of people today really don't need partners, mainly because they're so full of themselves. It's like, why would God need to give you anybody? Because most of what we do now in dating and relationships is all about us. We're looking for the person that will meet my needs, and instead of being a person that can meet someone else's. We're looking for somebody else who can be my cheerleader instead of being a cheerleader for somebody else. We're looking for a person that can do the things that I want, and will you be what I want for the rest of my life? Instead of saying, let me really die to myself. Let me see if I can be that person for somebody else. That person can be that for me. So it's a lot of eyes right now. It's a lot of pride, and living together and doing that before you get married. It's dangerous. It's extremely dangerous. Now, we know a lot of couples right now. I mean, in the state of Georgia, I believe it's like you can do common law after like 7 years. And a lot of them are just common law married. They're just common law married. And I've sat down with guys and they've said, what's the use of me getting married? Like, what is the use of it? We're going to live together. We can live together for a couple of years. And what is the whole benefit of marriage? And they don't understand the spiritual significance of covenant. Yeah. Covenant keeping, commitment keeping. Because when I stand before the preacher and I stand before God, which is what the preacher represents, when I stand before God and I'm making a commitment, I'm making a covenant. What I'm saying is I'm in this for richer or for poor. And you know what? You may have more poorer days than you have richer days. Yeah. In sickness and in health. You may have more sick days than you have health days, until death do us part. That's a big commitment. It's a different type of, and then when you get married, in the old covenant, the old covenant in the New Testament, when her hymen was broken through sex for the first time when they consummated the marriage, remember they had to come out and show the sheet to show that the covenant, we have a blood covenant. And the only way this covenant can be broken is by marriage, is by death. Yeah. And it's interesting because now you broke blood. Yeah. In the consummation of marriage. And then the only way for you to get out of the marriage is by blood, is by death. Yeah. And because that signifies the end of a covenant. That's when Jesus Christ, he shed his blood for us. It signified the end of an old covenant, but the beginning of a new one. Yeah. So now in death with the elders, with widows, as the Bible talks about, it says the church should take care of the widows and the orphans. What the Bible's basically saying is the widow's husband is now dead. So now with that being said, he has a responsibility to take care of, because now the widow is in a whole new covenant. Yeah. The covenant is no longer with the husband who's now been deceased, but the covenant is now with the church. And now the church becomes a covering for the widow. So it's dangerous. It's extremely dangerous. While some may look at it and say, well, this is permissible. We're having fun. We're having a good time. It may seem permissible, but is it advantageous? Yeah. Because you want something. I think we should dive deeper into that. The aspect of women who come to you and say, I want to be married now. And we know them. And then you give that perspective, because I want to give the hardline truth perspective that I'm getting from men as to why they're not getting married. And I don't think the women going to want to hear this. I don't think they're going to want to hear this. So women want to get married. The women that come to me that are saying, Heather, I'm getting older. I want to get married. And it's ironic because I remember being at a speaking engagement and this woman came up to me. We preached on single life and married life and all that stuff. I think we preached together. She came up to me at the end and she was in tears. She said, Heather, like you, I had a list of everything that I want in a spouse. And I have turned down every single man that has come because I feel like he does not have everything on my list. He has to be
perfect in order for me to even be interested in him. She's like, I realized that I have overlooked so many men. And she's like, I'm now almost 50 years old and I'm still believing God for my husband. And I looked at her and I said, God has been sending them, hasn't he? She said, he has. But I don't want to. I look at them and I say, well, you don't have this. Well, you don't have that. You're not making all this money. You're not doing all this. People don't understand. A person's not going to be ready-made. You're not ready-made.
Yeah.
Right? We have this expectation that our spouse is going to be perfect and be our knight in shining armor and come and whisk us away. I mean, look at Taylor. She plays house all day long. Yeah. Does she not?
She does.
And Logan fights all day long.
Yeah.
So he's thinking about power and playing, and Taylor's thinking about family.
Yeah.
So from a very young age, I feel like it's ingrained in our brain that we're going to have this fairy tale, right?
Yeah.
Of an idea of what a spouse is. And
I wish she was a baller.
I wish she was a caller.
I wish I had a girl look good. I was
caller, yeah.
Yep, that wasn't right though.
It wasn't. It wasn't. No. Caller wasn't right. Dang, man, I got to look up my lyrics.
Oh, gosh.
But I've had to learn that I have to throw away my list. I had to throw away my list.
Right.
I had this long list of everything I wanted in a spouse and everything I wanted in a person. And, I want to have sex this many times a day. Like I had this whole perspective, this perfect perspective.
This many times a day. God out. God out.
This idea in my head of what I wanted. And I wonder if women are overlooking the good guy, if we're friend zoning the good guy because we're looking for the bad boy that's going to be a bad husband. It's like you want somebody to rough you up. No, you don't, baby. You don't want nobody to rough you up. That's from your old man. And when we get saved, if we give our life to Jesus, we become new creations. And God is like, I have a plan for you. I have a man that not only will meet you where you are now, but where I'm taking you.
Yeah.
So that's what I did with a lot. Yeah.
There's an old song that goes, I ain't got no type, but bad. Well, I mean, the song is not good because he says he doesn't have a type, but then he lists the type that he wants. He says bad girls is the only thing that he likes.
That doesn't sound like Hillsong either, baby.
It's not.
Maybe.
So I talk with guys, and I'm very interested to how the women are going to perceive this, how they're going to take this, but I don't care. Okay, so many men. There are a lot of standards that's going on out here. I mean. I think a lot of social media has brought us a lot of great things. I think one of the things that has brought us is an opportunity to get information out at a faster rate.
Absolutely.
For us to learn and for us to grow in different ways in which we never have before. I think a lot of people are gaining their ideology and theology based on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook.
Absolutely.
We read posts from our favorite preachers or our favorite accounts. Not realizing their ideology or their theology, we kind of dive into that truth. And I say that to say this, there are a lot of people nowadays who are talking about relationships. And I think that it is extremely dangerous because you have single women who are oftentimes trying to instruct married women. You have single men who are trying to instruct or give relationship advice to married men.
That's crazy.
And then you have married men who feel jealous of single men because of their freedom, so to speak. And then you have single men who are envious of married men because of the family that they have. But when I sit down with men, the problem that I typically see is that right now we have a very selfish and a very prideful society. And men
entitled,
and men are less likely nowadays to get married because I've heard that, men don't want to feel like they're engaging in a parasitic type of relationship, where nowadays many men feel as though women want to be married for their advantage. Because if you ask yourself the question, ask yourself the question: when a man,
y'all can see my eyes right now.
Man, I know your eyes. So when a man or woman gets married, ask yourself the question: who appears to get the most advantages out of the marriage?
Both of us.
Well, that would be the idea. But to many men I talk to, it is more of the woman's advantage. It's for the woman's advantage. Well, the woman usually wants to get married and she wants to have children. that's usually not the man's first thought. Like, I want to get married and have kids. So it's not almost like, okay, I'm giving you kids.
Wait,
a woman wants to.
I'm holding your next generation, and my body's getting destroyed.
That sounds great for how you're thinking. I'm just telling you how the brother's telling me.
Tell us how we think.
I'm telling you. So the brother's like, I feel as though it's very parasitic. Like, you're coming into this, and you are already dictating all of your demands. You're already saying this is everything that you want.
Yeah.
And then now I'm coming into this to just kind of be the sperm donor, or I can be. I'm a father. I'm a dad. So I'm coming in to give you children. I'm coming in to give you house. I'm coming in to protect you, because nowadays you have relationship gurus who are telling men you don't need to get married until you have your whole life together.
That's
and then
crazy.
Women,
yeah,
it is. But then you have women out here who are complaining and saying, well, he's not marrying me. Yeah, he's not marrying you because he's trying to get his life together. He's following the advice of the relationship guru, or he's following the advice of the 10 things that you gave him, the list of 10 things you gave him that said he has to follow this list before he marries you.
Dang.
So if he can't marry you for the next 10 years, that's because, baby, he's trying to get out of debt before he marries you.
That's
and then
crazy.
you're not even considering your debt. And then, it's almost like for a lot of men, the men are saying, well, it's like these women out here, they want a protector and a provider as long as it is advantageous for them. But if the protection and the provision comes with strong leadership that says, well, now I want your submission, they're like, well, I don't want that because I'm independent. I could do it myself. It's like, so which one do you want? Do you want a man? Do you want a man to marry, or do you want a boyfriend to just kind of be with to cater to your advantages?
Well, dang.
Oh, it gets deeper. I could pause right there if you want me to. It gets deeper, but it's men. If you notice, women are having these events, speed dating events, and all these other kind of events where women are trying to find a way to get married. Women are going on dating apps. They're doing all these things, and they're on there, and the women, they'll come and they're like, well, the problem is that most of the men they see are ugly, or they just don't want them. It's like they're lame. I don't want those guys, because the guys they want are not on those apps. They're not going to the speed dating events. A lot of the reason being is because a lot of those guys are not, oh man, how do I say this without being curt? Just say it. A lot of those guys don't feel the need to have to pay or to go into a service when they are already, they're already entertaining 5 or 6 or 7 different women, because they know that they are the catch.
The devil is a liar.
It's a liar, but it's also the truth. They're like, I don't need to go out there and do that. I got my DMs are already popping from 12 of them I can choose from. They're already thirsty, and they're willing to do whatever I tell them to do in order to get them.
And then they want to take that same mindset and talking about, I'm your leader, I'm your head. And it's like, actually you can't figure it out because you dating 20 of us and you want me to practice submission while we courting.
That's absolutely right. That's absolutely true.
That's crazy.
It's crazy, but it's real. So the guys right here, and they're saying, you know what? It's almost like I have 8 to choose from.
That's wild.
So I'm going to choose this one, or maybe not, but I'll choose this one because this one is willing to give. This one has the least amount of requirements for me to come in. Because nowadays you have women who are coming and they're being bold and they're chasing men away. And I know the women will say, well, if he's a real man, he'll stay around because he da da da. But that ain't the case.
That's not the case.
It ain't
anymore.
the case. Because the men, they're coming there and saying, listen, if you're going to be with me, you're not going to kiss me till we get married. You're not going to do this. You're not going to do that. I'm going to tell you this. To a leader, like if you would have came to me and said, we're not kissing till we get married, we're not doing this, we're not doing that, to a leader, automatically it shuts me down. It doesn't shut me down because I'm insecure. It shuts me down because as a leader, it's not your job to dictate to me what I am going to do.
Come on.
It's not going to do it.
Is there like a clapping button somewhere?
I'm just saying that's
I love
that's
that.
the way it goes.
And that's what I loved about you. You were the first man that led me. You were the first man was like, this is what we're going to do, because I led in my previous relationships. So this was the first one where you shut me down.
Right.
And I liked it. It was weird. I couldn't explain it, but I was like, I don't like nobody telling me what to do, but I like his vision. I like where we're going. And I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm all perfect. I still struggle with submission. It's an ongoing thing. I didn't know that you were perfect at loving me like Christ loved the church. I just wanted to know.
Sacrifice and dying and submission.
Okay.
Ain't that something? But I have some more I want to give to that, but I think I want to give to that right after this. And baby, you was cooking all the mushrooms and all that stuff yesterday.
Oyster mushrooms.
But hey, them green smoothies and stuff, man, you be packing on all them vitamins and nutrients. But the crazy thing is you can eat all that stuff and not get all the nutrients that you need. That's why I'm so glad that you've invested in Ritual.
I know, me too. I love Ritual. I've been using it for a couple of months now, and it's been great from D3 to omega-3. It literally helps fill in the gaps in my diet. So you guys, I love it. It's traceable, it's transparent, it's delivered. And what's great about it is it's subscription based. So I don't have to constantly order it online. Now,
if you're going to get Ritual, I want you to know that you can get 10% off during your first 3 months. All you have to do is go to ritual.com/LWL. That's 10% off during your first 3 months at ritual.com/LWL. Better health doesn't happen overnight, but right now Ritual is offering this to all of our listeners. Ritual.com/LWL, 10% off first 3 months. So yeah. So I mean, this whole thing is big. I know we started off talking about sex. We're gonna get back to sex in just a minute. But this part is like, but you got to finish the part you was just talking about, how women still struggle with that thing of submission. And then I think you should also talk about that mindset for women. Like, after hearing everything that I just said about men and how a lot of men are thinking, like, as a woman, think about, like, what would you and what would all your girlfriends think of that?
I don't trust them ninjas. I don't trust none of them.
Gotta be ninjas though.
I don't trust none of them, because the reality is, it's like, if I'm supposed to be submitting to you, but you can't figure out what you want because you dating Jill, Lashika, you dating everybody.
Oh, why name got to be Lashika though?
I'm just saying, you dating from Jill to Emily to Keisha. You talking to everybody.
Right.
So because I don't feel like you're focused, why in the heck would I submit myself and lay down my will to a man that can't figure out if I am the one that he's supposed to be with? Well,
the good thing is the scripture says, wives, submit yourselves to your own husbands, not just to any man.
I agree.
To submit yourself unto your own husband as unto the Lord. So true submission begins in marriage. It doesn't, I mean, you may see traces of it in courtship, because it gives a man an opportunity to kind of see who he's marrying. But true submission in the purest form begins in marriage.
So I think
I understand exactly what you're saying, though.
I think for women, when they hear the word submission, they think dictatorship.
Absolutely. I mean, people will take the idea of submission based upon the leading man in their life. Mm-hmm. So if your father, or if your uncle, or if your grandfather was domineering and dictating, that's usually how they will see their husband. And they'll tell their husband, you ain't my daddy, or you ain't my grandfather, or you not my uncle. You not like that. You not going to treat me like that. You not going to do this to me. And it's like, even our marriage, I look at you and I say, but babe, like, I know I'm not your dad. I'm your husband. And it's my responsibility to cover you, to protect you, to help you, to provide for you. And I can't lead you well when you pull away from me. It's almost like trying to drag a donkey. It's like, come on, come forward. And you're like, no. I mean, not you, not in all sense, but it's like, come on. It's like, no, I don't want to. So it's, that kind of thing. It becomes very difficult in the relationship. We got to get men to even get there. I was reading something the other day, babe, that said that the highest group of women who were not, you read that?
76% or something, 79%.
Who were not married were Black women.
Black women. I was shook.
Now, I have my own thesis to that, but I want you to speak to it first. I'm gonna give my thesis to it.
There's just so many beautiful, amazing, empowered women. I honestly don't know why. I'm serious. When I look at my sisters, I'm like, you are beautiful. You are amazing. You are enough. You're powerful. You're strong. I personally don't know why people are single. I believe it's up to each person. But I personally have friends that I know that are doctors, that are, they work, they're entrepreneurs, they're beautiful, they're strong, and they're single. And I want to hook them up with somebody. So if any men listeners, reach out to my husband and I will introduce you to my beautiful friends. I don't know. I don't know if I'm not going to say they're overlooking good guys, because they're not. I walk with them. I'm doing life with them, and they're still single. Yeah. And I can just say maybe it's just not God's timing. I honestly don't know.
Well, I'll say this. I'll say this to that. For a man, men want to feel needed. And when a man sees,
do you feel needed?
Yeah, I mean, there are times I feel needed, but I mean, we even had conversations where when I don't feel needed in my marriage or in my house, I shut down. I'm like, well, why am I here? As a man, I want to feel needed. As a leader, I need to feel needed. So in every business that I run, the church, a pastor in the church, I need to feel needed. I need you. I need you a lot. I hear you. Got you. But it's like, I want to feel needed. Yeah. If I'm in a situation as a man where I don't feel as though I am needed because you got it all together, then why am I needed? So you will find that men go after women who are not always flaunting their achievements and everything else that they've done.
Their success.
Yeah, if you've already done this, then why do you need me? Like, why do you just need me to just kind of stand with you? Or he's like, well, I want you to come build with me. And it's like, well,
so am I supposed to dumb down my success?
No, you don't have to dumb down your success. It's just recognizing that your success, you can still have it, but recognizing that God created you to be a helpmeet. And God that's why he created women. In the book of Genesis, he created women to be a helpmeet. And for a man wants to feel needed. And women, I feel like, in some sense have to be able to decide, okay, what is it that I want? Do I want to climb the corporate ladder and have all these things and have, create this life for myself? Or do I desire to be married and have children and have these things? And I think women have to decide. And I don't think for any woman who's out there saying, I can't do both. I'm not saying that you can't do both, but I'm saying that at some point, one is going to triumph over the other. We know it all too well. We know women who in our lives who work, their life was their job. And they didn't have time for children. They didn't have time for this. They didn't have time for that stuff because they were busy climbing the corporate ladder. And now they look up, they're 40 years old, they're 50 years old, and they're like, man, I'm not married. And I threw my life into my job. Yeah. And now I want to get married, but now I'm 40. And how am I going to find a husband now at 40? It's like, you didn't need him then. So why do you need him now?
So, but I feel like we can look at my life. I have multiple businesses, right?
But you're married. All that stuff happened in the confines of marriage.
I see what you're saying.
Exactly.
But you mentioned something earlier and you were like, well, do you want, kids in a family or do you want your career? I feel like you could have both.
I never said you can't.
Oh, okay. I misheard you. My bad.
I believe you can have both. I believe you can have both. I believe that in having both, one has to take precedence over the other.
I don't think so, babe.
One needs to take precedence because you're gonna if you throw all of yourself into your job, you throw all yourself into all your work, then at some point you're gonna neglect something else. There's something. I mean, even in our life, baby, we have priorities. Yeah. Like for me, my priority is not my work. For me, my priority is my family. So it goes my marriage, then it goes my children, then it goes my mom and sister and my dad and my immediate family, and then it goes our church. Then after the church, then goes it goes our businesses. Well, it really goes my friends. Then it goes my businesses. But like my businesses and my employment goes below my friends on the priority level, because if not, then I'm chasing money. And that becomes my priority. But at some point, I have to ask myself the question, like when I met you, you knew what my priority was. From the first question I asked you when we went out on our first date, it was, hey, when we get married, are you willing to move to Atlanta? Because I don't want to live in New York. Yeah. Like you knew my priority. But a lot of men, and I hear women are saying they're probably smacking the teeth same way you just did. But hear me out. Hear me out. When you're sitting there and the man says, well, you know what? I'm trying to get this paper first. What he's saying here is that marriage is not my priority. Mm-hmm. That's not my priority. I'm trying to make bread. I'm trying to make paper. I'm trying to get this guap. Like I'm really trying to stack. And when he says that, he's already communicating to you, I'm not trying to marry you right now.
That's true.
So until I get this paper, or if I ever get the paper, or I ever get the deal, I ever make the league, then I'm not really trying to marry you. So what's the priority?
You know what's interesting? The scripture, it says, he who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. Mm-hmm. It's like, man, you're not going to get that favor, right? Until...
Find a good thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like coming into a marriage, we must look at it biblically. Mm-hmm. There's going to be a favor that's on your life that you will not get unless you marry this woman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I seek to convince the guys of that, to really talk to them about that possibly the paper that you're trying to reach or the place that you're trying to go to, the reason why it's so difficult for you to get there is because you're not in covenant.
It's right. You're doing it by yourself.
You're doing it by yourself.
Yeah.
And too many people are trying to be too independent. You can't even, I mean, I guess you can have sex by yourself as well. Autosexuality, masturbation.
Oh my gosh.
But what I'm trying to say is you can't really have enjoyable sex by yourself.
Yeah.
Like you need somebody for something.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's going back to the whole sex talk, but.
I know, we're easing back into that. But no, I mean, that's so true. Like we were not able to do what we could do until we came together.
Facts.
Period.
Facts.
Like I would not be doing this if I was not with you.
I forget, a mentor told me here recently, he said, you know something, Cornelius? He said, whatever you think about your marriage, he said, I don't believe that you will have the same grace on your life and the same anointing on your life if you got a divorce.
That's real.
That's what he said to me.
That's real.
It was like, man, they hit because it's like the scripture is so true.
Yeah.
He who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. So it's like you're not even my crown. You are my favor. You are my help me. But see, do you understand why I said earlier how a woman really needs to come up with what is that priority? Because if she's going to be favor in a covenant, then she has to ask herself the question, and marriage is not about, this is what I bring to the table and this is what I can do.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel like people thinking. That's why people get upset when they hear that kind of stuff. Because they're like, well, I can have it both. I can do this. Remember, it was the eyes in heaven that got kicked out.
Yeah.
It were the eyes in heaven from Lucifer. I will ascend above this. I will do this. And I will become the Lord God Most High. He said, I will do this. And his 5 eyes got his tail kicked out of heaven. And it's too many eyes who are trying to become we's. And now a we is just sharing a bed of eyes. I do this. I do that. This is what I do. This is what I want. And it's nothing about us and we.
Do you think that women are saying I, and maybe men too, but I'm just talking from a women's perspective because of protection. I feel like I got to protect me and mine. Because if I don't, then you going to hurt me.
Yeah.
Because you got 5 girls over here. Mm-hmm. So I need to protect myself. I need to have my own. And maybe they picked that up from their mother, their grandmother, or somebody who got played along the way.
Right.
So they saw their mama and them submit and got trashed and got hurt.
Yeah.
And so now they're like, I got to make sure that I got my stuff together so I don't depend on no man for nothing.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this. My pastor, Pastor Lee Jenkins, he said something to me the other day. Oh, not the other day, but he said to me a while back. And I think that it's so good because, we've talked in marriage, how I struggle with it. I struggle with the idea that, I got to protect me. If I don't protect me, who's going to look out for me? And Pastor Lee said something to me. It was so good. He said, Cornelius, he said, if you're so busy protecting you, then what is God doing?
That's good.
And I thought, well, doggone. You know what I mean? It's like, but that's the truth. If you're so busy protecting you, then what is God doing? Like, if the Bible says that God provides all of my need, then he's not even talking about my wants. He provides everything that I need. And if I'm so busy protecting me, then what do I have faith in him for? Why do I need him?
Yeah.
So now I've gotten to that point of saying, okay, I don't need to protect me because God got me. And then you come up, well, that don't even make sense. It doesn't make sense, but it makes faith.
Come on.
That God will not allow for me, he won't allow for me to fail, especially when I'm choosing to be honorable towards him. Yeah. That's what a lot of people are doing now. People are trying to protect them. They're trying to get their bread, their bank, their things. So a lot of times now, marriage is about opportunity. You got women who try to marry men because they want to come up. Men who try to marry women because they want to come up. It's like people nowadays, churches aren't filled with people who want God. Churches are filled with people who want opportunity. They want an opportunity to speak. They want an opportunity to pray in front of people. They want an opportunity to be on stage. They want to come up. They don't want to serve. People want to come up because the world and our society nowadays is about me, myself, and I. It's not about service and coming together anymore.
Dang.
True marriage, true covenant, true commitment.
You're preaching good. So let's just take a little break and come back and actually finish talking about sex.
As a father and as a husband, we got 3 kids. I'm always thinking about life insurance. Even when I was a single man, I was thinking about life insurance. Like, you need to make sure you're prepared. It's just important.
Yeah, you have to have life insurance. Whether you are single or married, you want to make sure that when you leave this earth, that your family has something. And this is why we love Policy Genius. It makes finding the right life insurance a breeze. In minutes, you can compare quotes from the top insurers to find your best price. You can save over $1,500 or more a year by using Policy Genius to compare life insurance policies.
We don't always get the future right, but Policy Genius makes sure that we don't get it wrong. Go to policygenius.com right now, guys. Go there now. It's just better to get life insurance right. And with policygenius.com, we always get it right. Policygenius.com.
Okay, so we're actually going to talk about sex. Sorry, y'all.
Let's talk about
but you know
sex,
what?
baby.
We talked about so many things in this podcast. Let's talk about married sex.
What you want to talk about is married sex for?
Because
man, you remember everybody was talking about some, oral sex. You have oral sex in your marriage and all that kind of stuff.
Oh gosh,
it's like, man, dude, if y'all want to puff and blow on each other, like, do you? But here's the thing, that's the thing, but don't objectify your spouse. Like, you can't take what you learn in a pornography video, then take it home to marriage and saying, well, you need to do this for me because you need to please me.
Yeah.
And she feels uncomfortable doing it, or he feels uncomfortable doing it. Like, you need to have that conversation. Like, how do you, I said, ho, I didn't mean this. I mean, ho, what I meant was like, oh, or yo, not ho. But
is that what's in your spirit?
We're talking about sex. So I think that's how I was thinking of ho. But like, you can't do. Anyway, you go, because I just messed all that up.
It's okay. We're not even going to edit that out. We're going to keep that in because that's real. Dang it, I'm thinking about the HOE. I'm not even thinking about what I was talking about.
The garden tool or the other one?
The garden tool.
Yeah, the garden tool. You think about the garden tool.
So we had this question the other day. We were speaking at this marriage boot camp, and one of the questions was, my husband wants to have anal sex, but I don't. And it's frustrating because that's not what I want to do. And I love that you said that. I love that you were like, hey, don't force that on your spouse. You know what I mean? So, and my advice was, heck no, that's not what we're doing. We're going to have to get some therapy, some counseling, something. And listen, if you want to do oral sex and all that stuff with your spouse, cool. But just don't try to borrow my lip gloss. You know what I'm saying? Don't try to sip out of my drink. Don't try to share spoons with me. That's all I'm saying. But I know we talked a lot about sex. Let's talk about expectations of sex in marriage, because kids come in, you get busy, you have a lot going on, and then you're not on the same page. And typically God gives one person a higher sex drive than the other person, right? And so then one side feels rejected by the other side if they're making advances for sex and they're being ignored. Yeah. You know what I mean? So let's just hit on that a little bit.
Well, I think a lot of it is you have to continuously talk about expectations.
Yeah.
When we do premarital, we usually talk about what is your expectation going into marriage. But the issue is, if you just have an expectation going into marriage of sex, then that expectation could be changed after 2 years.
That's
and
real.
If you sat down and talked about it, you're 2 years into marriage now. You should probably talk again about your expectations. And then when you're 5 years in, or you just had the kid, like now we're going to have a baby. What's my expectation? Because for her, the mom could be going through, she'd be postpartum. The dad could be going through something. And another thing that people don't talk about, we don't talk about enough, is for men, is ED, erectile dysfunction.
That's real.
Like, I get guys who reach out, and now it's not just affecting men. You think it's just affecting men in their 50s and 60s who are needing Viagra. No, these are guys in their 20s and their 30s and their 40s who are hitting me up, and they're like, yo, like I was trying to have sex and it wasn't like the blood wasn't flowing. Like, yo, I feel embarrassed. Like this is happening, and what's going on? A lot of those things happen because either you have low testosterone levels, either you have poor health, you're not exercising the right way. There's an imbalance of your body and the body is off. Maybe you have a ton of stress and stress is keeping you from having that enjoyable sex, or sex has just become this mundane type of activity. So there's a lot that goes into this. And the expectation is like, we're not having the man could not be having sex because he doesn't feel like the Mandingo warrior he felt like when he was single. Because when he was single, sex was fun because it was a game. It was like, it was enjoyable. It was sinful. But then when he got married, this became like, okay,
A responsibility.
So I'm having sex, but I don't feel comfortable because maybe I'm not getting as hard as I used to be. Maybe I'm thinking about other things I'm not supposed to be thinking about. So it's a lot that goes into that. And I think those expectations need to be talked about a lot over and over again in marriage.
Yeah. We should also talk about how to freshen up your sex life. And I think one great idea is going to staycation together.
Yeah.
Where you go to a hotel room, you're in a different bed, a different scene. Obviously with the same spouse, but you gotta say it.
Take another person with you. No. It was a joke. It was a joke. It was a joke.
A joke.
It was a joke.
Because I will kill you and you won't live to see it.
Oh, gosh.
So I'm just kidding. But just go on a staycation. You know what I mean? Just go on a staycation together and just get nasty with it together. Just be together. Just do it everywhere. Do it in the bathroom. Do it all over the couches, wherever. Just
remember that pool in Dominican
Babe,
Republic?
wait, hold on. Let's not share.
Oh, you the one who's about to do it everywhere?
I was telling them. I wasn't talking about us.
They probably already know we have sex. We have 3 kids.
That is true.
We've been together for 12 years. 10 of those years have been married. So they probably know that we're probably having sex.
The bomb, 10 years. That's all I got to say.
Come on,
be
girl.
killing
See,
it, baby.
girl,
I just gotta throw it out there.
That's what I'm talking about right there. That's what I'm talking about. But staycations are important. We also do, we do trips, couples trips.
Couples trips are good. Yeah.
And we do it a couple times a year. We just kind of get away. And sometimes, once a year we will do a staycation, just a nice hotel just in the city.
Yeah.
We get away for a couple of days.
Well, it's a wedding. We're going to a wedding in Cabo. And
So we have a good time.
Yeah.
But that's important. And here's the thing for all the married couples who are listening, please prioritize your marriage over your kids. Like, I know for some of you that shut off for you, but please prioritize your marriage over your kids. Your kids are going to leave your house one day, but you're going to live with your spouse forever.
Yeah.
Like, I look at my kids. I love my kids. I love our kids, baby, but I can't wait. It's almost like
You've
I
emptied
think
that
about
syndrome.
I think about it all the time. I'm like, man, what is going I just think about those days we're going to leave from church.
Yeah.
And the kids are going to be driving, doing their own little thing. And I'm not driving home. Like, I want to drive to the airport. I want to get on a plane and I just want to go. And they're like, hey, Dad, I'm about to come over to the house. Like, you know the code. Go inside. Daddy and Mama ain't there. Where y'all go? Away from you. And then I'm hanging up the phone. I'm turning it off. They go to voicemail. Like, that's the kind of stuff I'm thinking about.
But you're like 33 and we have a 1-year-old in our bed.
I've already started filling out job applications for him.
Oh, my God.
I'm starting a new business
that why
just so we can
want
run
him
it.
to stop breastfeeding so fast?
The dude is when a child can walk up to you and point to what he wants, it's about time.
He's not ready, baby.
You ain't ready.
It might be some of me.
No, it's all of you.
I'm a feeler and I'm very connected to Roman.
Oh, I ain't no feeler. And I ain't connected
Roman
to
is
him.
like, Mommy, I'm not ready yet.
Roman
I feel it.
I can make him ready. You give me the word, I can make him ready. I can make him ready.
I just appreciate you.
Remember, I got Logan ready.
Logan's different than Roman.
I got Taylor ready.
Yeah.
I can get Roman ready.
Maybe it's because I know he's the last one that I'm nursing. So
Are you kidding me?
He's the last one I'm nursing.
I mean, yeah, he is the last one you're nursing, but is that the reason why this dude is still attached to your titas?
No, babe, because I can sense that he's not ready. And I know when a kid is ready and he's just not. That's why he's still nursing. But he's only, 19 and a half months? He'd be 20 months in a couple days. He's just not ready. But soon.
Are you kidding me?
Baby, you know
this dude will be 6 years old to us. He's not ready yet. He's not ready.
Do you know some people in other countries nurse till like 6 years old?
Well, move to that country and do that. But as of this house, we take the boob out of the mouth.
Okay, so
it's time.
So what's the time?
This dude
2
is
years old?
This dude is eating whole food.
Okay, so 2 years old, can that be our end?
No, this dude needs to go.
Okay, what about Israel? What about we need Israel then?
When is Israel? April?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That will give me time, babe. I need time.
You need time. You don't need no time. You don't need no time. Just let me do it. You know what? Call me time.
Oh,
Call me time. Okay. I can do it.
We can finish this conversation. I forgot we're still podcasting.
We over here having a whole conversation. But you was talking about that sex thing. Sex. You talking about expectations of sex in marriage.
Yes. No, freshening up your sex life.
Freshening up your sex life.
Okay, maybe you hit some other rooms in your house, y'all. It ain't always got to be. So we did that once, but then Logan walked in and it wasn't very good. So just Be mindful of your children nearby. He came in and asked for water. It was fine. He doesn't remember because he was like 2.
Gosh.
He was like 2 years old. He doesn't remember, but still.
Now you know how you got here, son.
And then another thing you have to remember is like just teaching your children not to burst through the door in your bedroom. That's something that we're working on teaching our children, and just letting them know that our bedroom is like a sanctuary, even though Roman still sleeps in it. The other kids that they just bust in. They don't even like knock. They just bust open the door. So we're teaching them that as well. What are other ways to freshen it up, baby?
I don't know. People talking about they need toys. Hey, look, you know what? My thing is like this. If you're hitting it right, you need to play with all that stuff. I mean, you do what you do. You do what you do. You do what you do. What you and your spouse agree upon in your bedroom is between you and your spouse. What y'all agree upon in your bedroom is now. Thank you, Holy Spirit, for quickening me in saying that. Now, this whole thing about bringing other people into your bedroom and having these swinging sessions, like that stuff is dangerous.
The devil's a liar.
That stuff is dangerous because you get, man, I forget, I'll probably tell you this. We have people who've asked us about that, swinging.
Oh, they asked us. They didn't ask us to swing.
Yeah, they asked us to swing.
Wait, they asked, no one asked me. No one asked me that. Who asked you to swing?
So.
Babe, when?
That's been a question before.
To you? No one asked me.
Yeah. Well, anyway,
I will kill you. Don't you ask me. Oh,
Heather, it wasn't even a conversation to have with you. It wasn't something I was seeking to entertain.
I had no idea, baby.
Because it's dangerous. It's extremely dangerous.
Makes my heart sad.
It makes your heart sad. People out there, people swinging now. People swinging, man. People going to sex parties.
No.
Oh man, I learned a lot as a pastor. I learned a lot. I didn't know people were having sex parties. They're having like real sex parties. They provide condoms at the door. Or they got to fill out forms for VIP. They got to pay a certain amount. They got to figure out if they're STD free. Some parties are STD friendly.
Let's not give anybody ideas, baby.
Give them ideas. These people out here probably already doing it.
But it grieves me because all the soul ties that they're literally, all these people's bodies you're linking yourself to is just, that's disgusting. You know what I mean? It's like, and then you got all these people that are standing next to you on your wedding day from the sex party. You got 20 people standing next to you on your wedding day, and you trying to have a successful marriage. But the reality is you have given yourself, there's a piece of you, and you can give it to everybody in Atlanta, Georgia. Well,
I'll just say, you're my freshen up. I was just talking about, look, just stay away from that. I was like, stay away from sex parties, stay away from swinging, stay away from all that stuff, because you can't do that stuff in faith. Yeah. You can't do it in faith in God, because what you're communicating to God is, God, I can't trust you enough that my spouse is enough. And that in marriage, and we got to talk about this too, but as we go to a close, like if you're going to freshen up your married life, like it is good for a spouse to want to keep themselves up for their spouse.
Yes, to look good.
You want to look good. Yeah. Like, that's why I go to the gym. I'm happy you go to the gym. I'm really happy about that. I'm happy you work out
a lot now.
I'm glad you work out, because like, you know, I know some husbands, man, they like, yo, like, I'm not interested in having sex with my wife. Like, cause she's gotten bigger. And, you know, when I talk to her about it, she's like, you should love me for the skin I'm in. Yeah. But you don't understand. Like, that man he's a visual creature. And he's looking at you and he's like, yo, you don't look the same way you used to. And she's like, but I've had kids and I've done this. And yeah, you've done all those things, but you also eat like trash. The same way with men. Like, you can't expect for this woman to just be head over heels for you. And you got a gut that's bigger than her butt. Like, at some point, like, you need to deal with that. You need to deal with your breath. Deal with your halitosis. Go to the dentist. Get that, get them teeth cleaned. Figure out something's going on in your gut. Some people need a colon cleanse because for some reason it smells like the front coming out the back. I love
you. Like, I really love you.
You got to get that stuff taken care of. Like, your smells are important. Hey, you can have weight on you, but if you're gonna walk around smelling like a little bear, that's a problem. Like, you need to take care of that.
Your personality is amazing, babe.
I'm just saying, like, if you want to have some bomb sex and really get it in with your spouse, I mean, let them see you getting sexy, and then they'll perk up real quick. Like, dang, like, look at them abs, bruh. Like, girl, you thinking it up. Like, that kind of stuff turns people on. So,
that's true. I mean, women obviously are visual too. We both are, but just being healthy and being fit for each other. One of my rules has always been, I need to look better married than I did when I was single. Yeah. And I want to make sure I keep up with that. And, Yeah, I love that you work out too. I think it's good.
Yes.
You sexy
Well, y'all,
beast.
we appreciate y'all for being with us for this amazing
Okay, so I
episode.
think I've titled it "Sex Priorities and Submission."
How do you give a title in the middle of the thing? We ain't even talked about it.
I'm sorry, baby. What do you think of
Don't
that?
be
Wait.
sorry, girl. Be careful.
I was suggesting, sweetheart, I'm a helpmeet.
Your eyes ain't supposed to just be green. Ain't just supposed to be green for decoration. They're supposed to do some work.
Babe, this is
What was you and your antennas?
I cannot. Why are you like this? See, I'm trying to like practice submission and be all submitted. And
That ain't submission.
But I was
That ain't
trying
submission.
Wait, it's not submission?
That ain't submission now, girl.
Me suggesting what the title of
You
our
said
podcast
what that
is.
title's gonna be, cuz.
I said, babe, I've come up with an idea of what the podcast could be.
Oh, okay.
So we can talk about it afterward.
Yeah.
We need to talk about submission next time because, again,
Why we talking about submission? We got to continue this conversation. I feel like this conversation we continue because I got some more. Hey, ladies, I got some more stuff out there. The fellas been telling me, and the fellas are gonna be mad I'm saying it because they have been encouraging me to say it. So we
what do you
should
think
do.
about men and women? What do you think about that?
What you coming with these titles for?
Because I do that. That's
Titles
what
be
I
so
do.
lame, man. I be trying to have
Hey,
titles that like go with
lame.
songs. Yeah, like I ain't got no type. I think that is a dope
I don't
title.
know what those songs mean. I don't know the context. I don't know the spirits behind them. Yeah, I don't care what nobody say. I'm a little deep. I need to know more. I'm a little deep, not a lot deep.
The title of
baby.
next podcast is Revival.
That's funny.
Oh, it could be
I'm
Spirit
about-
Breakout.
I'm about to go spend time with Jesus, and I'm going to tell him.
Well, good. I spent time with her this morning, so you can go tell her. You can go tell her
Look at
everything.
God.
No,
Look at
I don't
God.
need that. That ain't what I need right now. It's a lot to what I need, but that ain't part of it.
I just woke up and I was like, God, I just want to worship you for like an hour. I just want to worship him. And
Well,
just,
you can go and worship him for an hour.
yeah.
2 hours if you want to.
I would-
All right. Well, God bless y'all, man. We got to get going. I hit this gym up. So make sure you subscribe. Make sure you share this with all your friends and family. And all that other kind of good stuff, man. We love y'all so much. And, you know, as y'all share this stuff on Instagram and social media, Facebook, make sure you tag us, Life with the Lindseys.
And leave some comments on iTunes,
YouTube.
Spotify.
Yeah.
We're on YouTube as well.
YouTube
It's on my
now.
YouTube channel. It's on yours too, right, baby?
Yes, on mine too. And on Instagram and Twitter, I am This Is Cornelius.
And I am Heather L. Love. So we see all of your posts. Keep them coming. We love seeing you guys screenshot our app and sharing it with your friends. It just means a lot to us.
All right, dope boys out. I mean,
Wait.
we're out. I didn't mean to say
What
that.
does that mean?
It don't mean a thing. God bless y'all, man. Bye.
Google that.